So let's continue with our SharePoint quick questions and answers video series, and it's question number 8. What kind of ready-made functional modules exist for collaboration? Right. Before even we try to answer this question, we'll first talk about collaboration. When we talk about collaboration, what kind of entities exist in collaboration? Let's first discuss about that. We have people in the organization, right? Must be accountant, CEO, sales manager, etc. And these people want to communicate, so they need a communication channel. So we have people, we need a communication channel because we want to communicate data. So we have people want to communicate data, and for data we need to have a communication channel. And people are assigned tasks, like somebody is accountant, he is working on accounting task. If it is a sales manager or salesperson, he is working on a sales task, and we need to track this task, right? So in other words, if we try to classify, we can say that people are allocated task. For task, to complete a task, we need to have data which needs to be sent to and fro, and we need to monitor the task, and for monitoring the task and sending the data here and there, we need to have a communication channel. So these are the basic entities which we need to achieve collaboration, right? So how does SharePoint help you in this? Okay, when we talk about people, SharePoint has given something called as contacts. So what we'll do is that let's open our site. Let me open our e-learning site which we discussed just now. Let me pull it out from the history. Sorry for this. Learn SharePoint. Let me put in my user ID password. Okay. Now if you go to site actions and if you go to create a site, this is what SharePoint has given us. A whole suite of collaboration, right? So let's now open the functionalities we need for collaboration. As we said that people, we have something called as people. Let's go back to the collaboration thing. We have people, we have people, we have task, we have data, we need a channel, and we need to track, right? So for people, they have given us something called as contacts. So you can get this section in the communication section of the create page. So when you go to the create page, you will get something called as contacts. So with this, you can manage information about people that your team works with, or you can manage information and data about your entity. Okay. The second thing we said is task. So for tasks, you can get something called as, in the tracking, called as a project task, which will give you a graphical view on what kind of items your people are working in, what are the open list in this, etc. Right. For data, you can have a document library, a picture library, a translation management, data connection. So again, if you go to the data part of it, you can get a document library. By using this document library, you can create functionalities where people can upload documents. You can create a wiki page, you can create a picture library. For monitoring, again, we have issue tracking, we have project task. For communication, they have given us announcements, discussion boards. So in other words, SharePoint is meant for collaboration, and these are the ready-made functionalities which you get in the collaboration. So now why am I explaining you this in this way? Okay, actually when you take in requirements from your customer, it's very essential to know that what are the ready-made functionalities provided by SharePoint, because with that you can bring down your development time. For instance, let's say that you get a project and the project says we need to create a message board, we need to create a project task, we need to have a wiki. Now these are already ready-made functionalities provided in SharePoint. So you need to understand that if this functionality has been provided in SharePoint, you need to look the requirement from that perspective, or you need to design your project from that perspective. So these requirements, I'm to say this reusable functionality is what you see here in SharePoint needs to be somewhere. You can put it as a checklist when you take the requirements and say, okay, like for example, announcement boards already exist in SharePoint, so I'm not going to code it from scratch. And or else the other way to look at it is, I have an announcement board here, and there is an announcement requirement in the requirement document. Do they exactly match with each other, or is there some kind of customization, right? So in other words, you need to look at the requirements from the perspective of your ready-made functionality already provided in SharePoint, right? So now what we'll do is that let's create a simple document library, and in this document we'll be uploading some kind of project documents. So that's the project documents. This helps us to manage documents, and I say you can upload only 2000 only Word documents, and I say create. Now what happens with that is, you can see in the that I have got a link called as a project document. I can go and I can upload a new document here. Let me say upload a document, and I can browse, and let me pick up a sample document. Let's say my Excel book. Okay, and it was a doc file. So let's say upload a doc file, and you can see that my Excel document is uploaded, where people can actually download this Excel document and use it. With just a click of a button, or with just using the existing functionalities, I have created a complete document management system in my website. So that's the power of SharePoint, or that's the power of the reusable functionality what exists in the site actions create page. And not only that, if you right click this, right, you can get so many other things. For example, you can view the property, manage permissions, you can check it out, you can add, you can do versioning, right? So there are a lot of things, which comes extra with these features. So what I will suggest is, again, it's very difficult. As I said, this is again a part of admin type of thing. It is not a programmatic part, and in the coming videos we need to concentrate more on the programming aspect. So what I will suggest is, as I have added, as you have seen me adding the document library, I will suggest to go and add a discussion board. I will suggest to go and add a project task and see how your website changes with a click of a button, or how your website gets those what you call gigantic functionalities with just a click of a button. So I hope that I was able to clarify in this session the ready-made functionalities given by SharePoint. The only point to remember is that whenever you take a requirement, you need to map these functionalities with SharePoint. And one of the very important aspect of SharePoint is collaboration. The whole point why SharePoint exists is collaboration. So always keep these 4 or 5 aspects in mind when you talk about collaboration: communication, monitoring, data, task, and people, and then map your requirement accordingly and see that what SharePoint has given in this. So first, because many of the projects, they use SharePoint because they want to learn SharePoint. I've seen this in most of the companies. It cannot be like that. So because SharePoint is not only costly, but it is difficult to manage also, because there's a whole, the architecture is a bit different from how a normal .NET project works. So whenever you see a project having huge collaboration where you need to increase team efficiency, if you see that theme and the vision of the project, then always look at SharePoint as a main core and try to implement the project.